man.
I have to hear you enough at home.
What's that?
Pull that up there. I'm gonna ask you questions.
What?
Pull it up to you in case I have to ask you a question. I need to hear you.
There you go.
That kid.
They're much better. Your guys, never mind. You sit on the toilet, don't you? Use that as your meditation.
Not my wife, not your wife, nor anybody listening to this podcast has eaten a shit sandwich we didn't have a hand in making.
His favorite.
Welcome to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic. Fuck that. I'm over it.
Okay, so when are we going to do a new one?
What?
The next time
so
we'll sit down.
I've got one about 3/4 of the way done that I enjoy doing.
I get no input on it, apparently, Katie. He's in it.
Motherfucker, get your ass over here and sit down with me when I'm doing it.
Just invite
You're here enough. You're here enough.
You're not.
No. Hold on a second. Hold
Rob,
on.
You are always welcome.
That was very dickish of me.
I got a resentment.
That was very dickish of me. That was. What I meant by that is I utilize you enough. I mean, you're the only man I know that I could call up and say, we're recording in an hour. Okay, I'll be right there. And God love you, Bonnie, for letting him do that. Both of you ladies for letting me go from a man's son dying of a fentanyl overdose to a dream or a vision or whatever it was in Texas, to calling Rob and saying, will you do a podcast with me? I feel like I need to do more, to episode 53 a year and 1 week later, recording this one. I mean, it just, the things that have happened in the podcast, the everything that we've gotten to do, it's been incredible. And it's because you women have allowed us to do it. And Katie, for allowing me to utilize this in our home and to be a part of this and just allowing.
Katie's really sacrificed the most.
Wait, can you say that again? Can you repeat the allowed part? I like that.
That you've allowed
him.
Well, you do.
Damn right.
You do.
I like that part. I
mean,
like the way that sounds.
Never ever have I ever. I have never heard him say, well, let me check with Bonnie. Let me make sure it's okay with Bonnie. And that is just allowing him to do this thing that we do, Katie has to give up her home, has to give up her time. She has to,
she doesn't have to. She's
chose to allow this. She's allowed me to take over this room, and God love you, Katie. Thank you for letting me do this, because what it's done for us, right? For me, this is my
therapeutic.
This is therapy for me, right? It's my way.
Well,
it's done so much for people. I know of 3 people that are in treatment because of this podcast, for sure, right? I know of 3. There may be more, but I said from the very beginning, 1 is all I want. One is all I want. One soul is all I want, and that God laid that on my heart, and I'm going to do it as long as I can. And I'll never record without you, Rob. I will never record without you. So many people said, well, just record one without Rob. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not. This is a Rob and Larry show, and it's going to be that till the day we stop the mics.
It's actually Larry and Rob. I get second billing. Don't kid yourself.
You know why I say Rob and Larry?
I have give up. Why?
Because your name is shorter. You always say the short name first before you say.
Well, fuck, I didn't know that.
It's just.
See, you learn something every day. I'll put that on my
Rob and Larry,
smart ass.
The Rob and Larry show. So hey, what I want to do real fast, right? I just wanted to catch up on the last year, the last 52 episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with ours, yours and I's. That was horrible. Your and I's.
Beautiful,
right?
Beautiful grammar.
Mine and yours.
Mine and yours, right?
That kid.
Mine and yours.
Or yours and mine. Better than yours and ours.
Our first 2, right? They come out very first, July 7th, and whatever. I'm not going to say the dates. Those were fun, right? Telling our stories. Of course,
some of it we did.
Some of it we've told our story over a period of time. The 3 or 4 weeks leading up to that was doing our intros, doing our outros, doing our doing all that stuff, getting it set up. And then our first 2,
Jason.
And then 3 and 4, Jason, right? Jason was, when I learned my lesson through those, right? We learned that I didn't want to split up any more episodes, right? When we split that up.
Well, I think Katie's one that said,
yes,
Jason wasn't finished, and don't split them up. We got great input.
There was still,
and Miranda gave us great input. McKenna gave us great input.
To be said in Jason's story. I mean, there's so many parts of Jason's story, which was super sad, but
She won't
No.
listen to those either.
Yeah.
Jason's like an older brother to me. I've known him since I was
Jason
in
A.
6th or 7th grade. I knew Tyler.
Yeah.
And
we had kind of,
can't.
I don't think Larry so much because I don't think that he was paying too much attention to that. But when that happened, that was kind of part of Miranda and Eric. One of the things that was kind of traumatic per se to happen when they were in high school. So they were kind of living it, even though they were in a different city, a different high school. It was still in Eric's community.
And the rest of
the wrestling community.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
we kind of knew more about that. And, Larry was sad for his friend, but I had also worked with Tyler's mom.
Oh, I love Dina.
Yeah, when I was in
love
high
her.
school, we had worked at the deli together.
She's awesome.
So yeah, but I hadn't seen her for years either. So
I haven't
it was
seen
very
her in
sad
years.
for me to know that they were having to walk this, and then not even knowing the Stillmans, that they lost their son. It's just, you don't want that to happen to anybody.
That was rough. That was rough because, like I said, Jason him and I were inseparable growing up in Waterford, right? And his dad and my dad and his uncle Larry, I'm named after his uncle, and it was just, it was, to get to know Jason again after all those years of, when we went from Waterford to Oakdale, though, and he was a year behind me in school, but 2 years behind. He's a year ahead of you, isn't he?
True. Jason's 55 years old, buddy.
Yeah, he's the same age as me. Yeah, he was a year behind me in school, though, I thought. Maybe not. But anyways, when Waterford, we went to Oakdale, we just went into separate crowds. So it was just a completely different area. So I lost, we just lost that friendship. But we always stayed in touch when I'd see him in town and I knew what was going on with him, blah, blah, blah. But man, to be able to sit down with him, and, the studio originally started in my office, but to sit down with him and to walk through that story firsthand instead of hearing it from my dad or hearing it from Billy Ray or hearing it from his uncle Larry or his cousins or anybody else, right? I mean, I got to hear it firsthand from him, and it was just, it was nice to hear it directly from him. And I love that man to death. I mean, that guy's got a spirit to him that's just
and now
incredible.
we're grappling, buddy.
Huh? I know. Now you're beating up on him. Poor guy. So, and then Rob and I, so that was 3 and 4, right? And then Rob and I, and then 5 was Mary and Matt, right? That's when Mary and Matt came in.
That far back.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of shocked when I started going back through these to kind of figure out when we did them, right? And I was just shocked that they were right behind it. And, and I, once again, going back, me learning the studio and learning how to control the mics and that kind of stuff. And
Matt was right here.
We moved it. By then we had moved in over here.
Yep.
Right? Rob and I.
This thing is 500 pounds. These are tiles and concrete.
No, you guys were carrying my desk. I had just gotten that desk for what I thought was going to be my office.
It is your office if you ever get in there.
Well, I'm still working. So I'm not. Anyways, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I originally
he was bringing that out here.
I was taking over her office. I originally set everything up in her office, and I sent her a picture of it. She's like, "So much for my office," and then I was like, "Fuck, she's right." So I started bringing everything out over to here because I knew this was eventually where the studio was going to end up, right? But I wanted to find a table. My original thoughts was just to have big cigar chairs with stand mics and that kind of stuff, but the more I remember my vision was sitting around a table with 4 mics, round table with 4 mics. So
Heavy.
Katie started looking, she didn't want me in her office, didn't want me taking over her stuff. So she found this table, and Rob and I, once again, my man, Rob, hey, I got to go pick up the table. When we going? Here, off we go. Go over to Antioch, and this lady was just a God-fearing woman.
Come on, don't tell me that wasn't a God thing.
Oh, buddy, she was awesome. She's like, it's heavy, and Rob, oh my God, we're gonna do it. He gets over and grabs a hold of this thing. He's like, holy shit, we're gonna take that thing apart.
Yeah.
And we did, right? This thing was heavy, right? The middle of this is all real tile right here. That's why it's so heavy with
it's a beautiful Pier 1 round dining table.
It is beautiful.
With tile on the top.
It's
tile
awesome.
and wood. It is beautiful. I did not realize how heavy it would be.
Oh my God, this thing was brutal carrying up here.
And poor Larry with his broken body.
Yeah.
And
He
then
could barely carry
The
anything.
midget
So
had to do the heavy lifting.
There-
he was
you
doing
ain't
the heavy
lying.
lifting.
I think that was
Dwarf.
before you had your hip surgery too. I think it was.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
And
And they
the
had to
dwarf-
carry this heavy thing upstairs
The
to the
dwarf
loft
of Middle
where
Earth.
they record.
right. And then we had so the first and then have mixed match chairs because the chairs that came with
I
this
loved the white chairs. These are
was
great
so
too.
do I, but I wanted them to match because Larry's anal that way. And then the chairs that came with this,
That's your fourth step.
we swore not to ever talk about it again.
Yeah. Him being anal and Abigail my chicken. Can't talk about that shit.
And the metal chairs that came with this are they're throughout the studios here. They're in the corners. And then, so we started stealing Katie's chairs out of her office. Then Katie would come up to do her work in her office and she'd get mad because they're in here. Anyways, so then I brought in the acoustic curtains and, it eventually became what it is now. And I'm not done. I still got a couple things I want to do.
Again, I just need another $1,000.
Anybody
like a
wants to
boat.
send, anybody that wants to send
It's
it.
like a boat.
Right.
Just need a little
It's
bit
like our
more. A little
RV.
bit
Right.
more.
Anyway, so that was 5. And then the one that still is on the top of the most downloads or the most listened to, besides the first one, the first 2 are always the most because when somebody starts a new podcast, right, they always go back to the very first one. I'm going to say this to the end of this podcast. It's the reason why mine is still the most. The very first one was my story.
Okay.
So it's still the most listened to, but it's
Awesome.
only because when people go to listen to new podcasts, they start at the very beginning.
Maybe
That's
it's the
why.
best too. Who the fuck knows?
Anyways,
But your story on why you started this, that ties into your story,
yes,
period.
it does,
So
for sure.
It wasn't any
Yeah, and
shade to Rob.
No, it's still, but Brad and Grace was number 7. And that is, people still talk about that one. That was so, and because it really was that, Mary and Matt had a story of loss and they were both in recovery, but that was the first husband and wife that we had in here. I mean, their story is very amazing, right? Brad's story on how he got into recovery and how he went.
And more people can relate to Brad.
Yes.
Because not everybody in recovery has lost a son.
No.
Or in life. So,
Brad and Grace, their story was just tremendous and it was fun. And they're wonderful people. I love those 2 to death. And anyways, that was,
I love Grace.
oh my God, I love her to death. I love Brad.
She's just a lovely human.
Brad,
She really
I love.
is. I mean, and Brad, I love
You don't
him.
have to wonder what he's thinking.
No,
No.
God,
He's one
no.
of those people you just look at his face and you're like, you think what I am.
Yeah, he's just.
He
You
doesn't,
don't have to
he
say
doesn't
it.
have a filter, but it's in a good way. Especially where my husband is concerned. Love you, Brad.
He is just, him and I think so much alike. In fact, we went out to dinner one night after a meeting, Brad and Grace and Katie and I and Brad, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they were just being stupid when we got in there. It was about close to closing time and they were being stupid. And Brad and I was literally right on the verge of being a dick. And I was looking at Brad and I think Brad was right there. I think we were thinking which one of us is going to be the bigger dick here because both of us really wanted just to be a raging dick. But I think we both was like, yeah, we just came from an AA meeting. We're going to be good. But it was
a lovely dinner.
Lovely dinner. And they ended up being super sweet to us. It was good. Anyways, that was Brad and Grace was a fun one. And then Nine, our mentor and
Chris,
the love of my life, Chris. Yeah,
Oh,
Chris
wait,
L.
excuse me.
You're the love of my home, baby. Chris L. saved my life
Okay.
with God. That man,
mine too.
yeah, he turned me upside down and flipped all the shit out of me and overnight. And when we talked about that's when the change in me happened, when you talked about in the podcast before about when I asked you,
the 9 days.
yeah, when I asked you, did you see a change? Well, the change happened when they put me with him, right? Because I was a motherfucker for the first 18 days trying to tell him how to run the place. The lady that was running it
surprise.
The lady that was running the place was a complete total bitch. I couldn't stand her. And we just clashed so hard. And she was actually my counselor at first. And then they put me with somebody else, and that poor lady didn't stand a chance because I was just a dick. So we didn't even last one. And then Sean Monaco, she was she just kept after me, just trying to be so positive with me. And I love that woman. And Marla, who was there. Between those two girls, they kept me there. And then they put me with Chris L., who turned me upside down and shook the shit out of me and literally made me want to be sober.
Me too.
Yeah, it just, his enthusiasm for life.
It's infectious.
It's infectious. And
but when you're in the dark, like I wanted to punch him in the mouth when I first met him because he was just light.
Well, he was, because I never had one.
Could you? He's got that big smile and he's so happy.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to hit him.
But I didn't.
Didn't you want to have that happiness?
No, not until
not then.
Well,
you got it.
In 5 minutes afterwards, because he just sat me and he was beaming. And I've told the story, and he came up. This is the third day 3 because I decided I was not going to leave. And I was just sitting on the bench outside, and he comes up. My name's Chris, and I think I'm going to be your counselor. And he's shaking, and I'm like, "Fuck, get away from me!" So I smile, just get away from me. And he asked me a question, and I wanted to tell him get the fuck away from me. But what I said was, I can't live like this anymore. I can help you. That's what he said. Then he got serious. He grabbed my hand, grabbed my arm, and I looked at him with that big smile, Chris. I can help you. And I believed him. I don't know why I believed him, but then that's when shit switched for me. And I was like, whatever, you tell me to go stand in the corner with a grapefruit on my head and I won't drink today. Give me 2.
Right.
I'm there. And I did whatever that man asked me to do from that point on.
Yeah. And when they told,
that's when I had hope.
Right.
I got hope.
When they sat across, when they pulled me into the principal's office is what I always called it.
Third time or second
time?
The
third time.
Third time.
And Shauna Wren was sitting there, and you want to talk about a woman I'd kill people for. Yep. That woman right there is a saint.
Good woman.
And I sat across, I'd never met her before. I didn't know who she was. And they sat me there with Marty and Shauna and Sean, and I don't remember. I think Ashton was there and Sean was sitting and I was just going off. And the other lady that was running the place at the time was there that I just wanted to throw something at. God, I don't have any resentment to her. Honestly, she was a great path to my sobriety. And anyways, I was just going off and I finally had to look at the poor Shauna Wren. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't have no idea who you are. And I apologize. You have to meet me like this to begin with. And she sat there and goes, I'm the owner. And I'm like, oh, let's go then.
Let me tell you.
Now I got
you can make this place better.
Now I got the owner's attention. Come on.
Larry Separate special.
My whole world kind of changed. And then they said, we're going to give you another opportunity or we're going to have to ask you to leave. We're going to put you with Chris Lytle. And I was like, who the fuck is Chris Lytle? He's the guy that runs the class. And I'm like, I didn't even know he was a counselor. We give the rough ones to him. I'm like, okay. And the next day I just, I went in, you guys have all heard me tell that story. It was just, anyway, so that was Chris. We got him on here. He still runs a great program and I'm going to think about it. Chris, I want to give you that plug. I apologize, but he still runs
it's called Spiritual Roads.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Spiritual Roads, YouTube.
I love you, Chris.
Yeah. Apparently Rob loves you more than I do, Chris. Spiritual Roads. It's a YouTube channel. He has all the 12 steps. He walks through all the 12 steps on there. It's great. And then my boy Dougie P, my travel partner.
We've had Doug a couple of times on.
Yeah, we had Doug and Brad a couple of times together on here, And Dougie P, he's my travel. We're getting ready to leave for Canada. In fact, when you guys are listening to this, we've already been to Canada, for the International AA Convention. Jason R is going with us, him and Kim, and which we're coming up to that one. So I love Doug. Doug's that guy.
Doug he's my sponsor also.
Yep.
We sponsor one another, but he is my sponsor.
21 years of sobriety. And he actually, once we started doing the men's group, he kind of doubled down and got back into it. And he's just a light, man. I love that man to death.
He fucking called me today.
Did he?
I ain't gonna say it.
Why?
I gotta pray about it. Doug asked me for something. I gotta pray about it.
Oh no, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna be a little flag football coach.
Are you gonna do it? You know what?
My daughter. It's sweet.
Do you know what grade?
I'm gonna do it.
What age?
Don't you think that'd be
third
cool?
and fourth grade?
Dude, I think you're going to have my grandson. I think you're going to have if you're doing it, I'm going to help you.
Well, it's through the.
It is. It's from your church.
For Saturdays?
Yeah.
It's on Saturday?
It's your church.
That's Kane's league.
I'm almost.
All right, fuck, I'm doing it.
Well, I'm going to help you.
Like me and Katie are making snack.
Hey, I'm sorry, we might cut this out, but if it's that weekend, if it's the same group, I'll help you. I can't beat Miranda asked me to do it, and I'm like, baby, I'm not going to commit to that. But if I know
it's one day a week, I don't know what day
it is,
I don't know.
it is, and then it's a Saturday game.
Doug got asked, so he called me the day before I came here. He goes, hey, I was asked.
Oh, Doug's going to run it.
Well, Doug's going to coach. He goes, would you help me coach? I was
Oh, God love you, Pat
Okay,
or Doug.
Logan did it when he was little.
Kane played 1 year. He just didn't. They didn't get him signed up last year.
Yeah,
So,
Logan loved it. It was fun.
Oh yeah, Kane loved it.
So yeah,
he did too.
me and Doug will be coaching flag football.
It's a good league.
It's fun.
So.
It's I mean
Logan
for
won
those
a bike.
You what?
Logan won a bicycle.
Did he really?
and then because he already had a nice bike,
yeah,
he gave it away to a young boy that didn't have one.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
the little kid around the corner. Someone stole his bike.
So Logan
took the
What a
bike he
great
got for
kid.
free.
Where did he learn
It's a
all
nice
that
bike,
from?
though.
It was a
God.
nice bike.
God.
Glad you didn't say me.
God.
Number 11 was Pat.
Or his mother.
The two
Toucan Superman.
Toucan Superman, Pat.
Oh,
Pat.
yeah.
You know, you want to talk about it. I had never met another man that knew the book as much as Rob did until Pat started coming in, right? And I had a real aversion to him at first. You've never met Pat?
She's met him a couple times, but it's super at the grocery store.
Yeah, I had a real aversion to Pat at first because to me he was competing with my boy Rob to see who knew the most, and I'm like, motherfucker, ain't nobody know more than my Rob.
A lot of people do.
And then,
awesome.
But the more I got to know the man, I love that guy, man. I love him. The knowledge that he has and his story.
But the way he lives,
he's an incredible.
We live at the same.
Yes, yes. He's just. I love him to death. He's just a great man. Doug was back. Meditation on the shitter on the 13, and then number 14 was my favorite man of all time is Jason Ryan.
Yeah, that I can't argue that.
No, that is.
I love him and Kim.
Yeah,
my God, him and Kim, they're dynamic. I love listening to their adventures and what they do. Mm-hmm. He's another one that I get to sit with in Canada, and I'm so excited.
Enjoy that.
So excited to be with him and Kim in Canada. You know, I wanted to ask him if he's, because the guy runs every morning. He's pillar of health, and I wanted to ask him
the way his back is from bull riding,
right?
But he doesn't feel any of it. He's screwed up from
from cattle from.
But as God blessed it,
he just keeps fighting through it, and yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he works over on the coast where I go every once in a while.
We don't get to see him as much.
No, we don't. And I hate it. I get to run into him every once in a while. We'll go to dinner over at Monterey when I get over there. So yeah, I get to see him, not nearly as much as I want to, because that man is an inspiration to me.
I think that's one thing that you don't necessarily get portrayed through the microphone is, I don't want to say personality, because sometimes people's personalities does come out on the mic, but both Jason and his beautiful wife, Kim, are just full of joy, and there is no question.
Nothing.
When you get a hug from them, it's the most genuine. Yeah. They're just infusing you with their love. Yeah. And they're just lovely people. Yeah.
Jason, when Miranda and Eric were buying their new place, I called Jason and I said, "Hey, can you come take a look at this place?" And him and Kim came right out.
When I was when I got diagnosed with cancer, we had started doing some home the floor, and we wanted to get the bathroom done, and I didn't. He came over on his time, but that was before he got shipped down there. Right. Did all the work. I mean, he would take me shopping, show me what to buy, what to do, and he did everything just to get me just before my cancer started, and he did it all, and
I can't do. And then number 17 was so when I went to Primary Purpose, my very first day.
Dawson?
Both Mike and Dawson, right? So when I first pulled up, I remember, how they sit around outside. Well, I pulled up and Mike was the first one to greet me. Dawson was the first one right there next to him, and those two guys. So Mike was 17, and
my wife has a great affinity for Dawson because when she got to listen to him speak, and because when she drank in high school, Dawson's father invented Boone's Ferry apple wine.
Oh, I love Boone's Farm. That's
the only thing he'll drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawson was 22,
That's
right?
The best wine ever.
That was
$500. You can get it for 99 cents.
99 cents.
Awesome.
Not anymore.
Right.
Right. Number 18 was the only reason why I bring this up because this is when we brought Doug and Brad in together and we did the California Sober, which is what we talked about before. there was a little controversy there. We went through that, but it was fun, right? We've done a lot of topics, right? I'm only talking about the guests that we had on. Rob and I's done a ton of just one-on-ones, right? I mean, the one-on-ones where Rob and I just pick a topic and go do are some of my funner ones because we
just like to fucking wind me up.
I do.
And go.
I love fucking winding you up. And in fact, I'm
It's
going
no
to
lie.
I'm going to mention that one here pretty soon because it was one of my funnest ones because he even came in here and I'll talk about it here in a minute. So number 20 was a fun one because that's the one Katie kept after me after Jason
Finish.
Allen. She kept, Larry, it's not finished. It's not finished. It's not finished.
She was
You
right.
got to get the rest of it. And yes, so we brought Jason.
Well, just because how far Jason has come in
Right.
his life and the blessings in which he has
Right.
now as well, which, I mean, how lucky is he that, he walked through such a horrible situation by having to watch his son deteriorate and not want to live.
Mm.
And now he's got these younger ones that he gets that not a second chance because he still has his other children from his first marriage as well. But he has this blessing.
But it is a second chance.
It is.
Yeah, but he has this blessing of being able to really be present and to love these boys.
Yeah.
So
And
he's very lucky.
Oh, he's taking every advantage.
Every ounce of it. And Jenny, his wife, she came on and then
from the block.
Jenny from the block. And now she's got she's doing awesome with her sobriety stuff. I mean, the Sober Shit Show is her podcast. And she's got all kinds of stuff. I mean, every time I get onto Instagram, she does her lashes, the glow up. Yeah, she's got a bunch going on. And God love her. She's a hustler, man. Her and Jason both are just hustlers.
Yeah.
They don't settle
in the best
down.
sense of the word.
Oh yeah, they just constantly moving. So then I talked about number 22, which was Dawson, and then I think this next one is Katie's got a cousin that lives down in L.A. and she's by far our biggest fan. Right when after these podcasts land, I always wait for Laurel to text me back. She texts me every podcast,
kind of like Tammy does. Give us.
Yeah, she just gives me.
But
she's
she
like
was one of my favorite guests. Laurel was.
Because it was different, right? We've been wanting to get a Celebrate Recovery, which we tried, and we tried to get a couple different Celebrate Recoveries, and I wanted to get NA on here because and
they just run from us,
right? And
I don't know why.
And and I've said this from the very beginning. Rob and I are AA fanatics, right? That's the way we got sober. But we're not affiliated with AA. For me, I don't care how you get sober. I really don't.
Just get it.
Get it. Find it. Work it. Find the serenity. Find the peace. Because I've said this so many times. Doing what I do is not to stay sober anymore. It's not at all. If I'm missing a meeting, if I'm getting anxious, that's what I worry about more is that anxiety coming in, that anxiousness. Peace. When I don't have my serenity. And that peace. Rob talks about that first drink when and
your body goes.
Yeah. I get that. That's what I look for, right? And I get that every time I see Katie or every time I talk to my daughters or every time I get to touch my grandkids. I get that from them, right? That's where I get that peace and that serenity.
I go to meetings to give back what I've been given.
And when I can see another man react be successful on something that we do
when they get it, when the lights turn on, I love that. A couple weeks back, there was a guy that had less than 24 hours sitting in the meeting, and as we were kind of going around the room, anybody less than 30 days want to mention their names, not to embarrass you, just so we can help you out, right? There was a guy sitting down at the end of the table. He says, I got less than 24 hours, and he looked like it. Oh my gosh. And you know what, Robin, I have such empathy for that because I still so fresh in me that I know right where he's at. You feel that, you can feel that brokenness.
I can feel the brokenness. I can feel the anxiousness. I can just see it in his heart and in his mind and in his eyeballs. I could just see it. I wanted to reach in and grab it and pull it out. Say, let me hold on to this for a little while till you figure it out, when I was my time to share is all to him, right? It's going to get better, bud. It's going to get better. Not everybody in this room has gone through what you have, but Laurel came in. I went down that road, sidetrack, but Laurel came up for Thanksgiving. Laurel and Scotty, which is Katie's cousin, came up. She calls him Richard. I call him Scotty.
No.
And
Robert.
Robert, sorry.
Yeah.
Robert.
Their son is Richard.
Sorry. Anyways, he's Scotty to me.
Scotty.
And she was sitting downstairs, and I go, the podcast, the studios, because we call this our Airbnb up here. And I go, the studio's sitting right outside the Airbnb. I bet I can call Rob and we can record. And she's like, really? I go, yeah. You want to record? Because she battled depression. Her husband, her dad was an alcoholic. She had a rough one growing up, but her biggest thing, she battled some deep depression. And Katie and I were dating during that period of time, and she said yeah. And I called Rob. I said, hey, get it. This is one of those times, man. I called him. I said, hey, let's go. And he's like, on my way. And it was one of my favorites, and it was one of Rob's favorites. I mean, Rob dug into that one a lot more than what I thought you were going to. And it was a fun one. That was number 23.
Well,
That
she's
was
special. She's real special.
Dude, I love her.
Very special.
Yeah, her and Cassie, but besides my daughters, her and Cassie, Laurel and Cassie got my wife through those 30 days that I was gone. But they picked up where I couldn't be, and God love them. I love Laurel. Love you, Laurel. And number 25, and this was what was so ironic to this one, right? Number 25 dropped on December 25th on Christmas Day, and it was Brandon, who had 90 days, right? That was,
I'll be damned.
yeah,
That was 25 ago?
that was
Or
25.
maybe 28
Yeah,
ago.
that was number 25,
I'll be damned.
and it dropped on December 25th. It dropped on Christmas morning, and we haven't missed a Wednesday for 52 weeks when that one dropped.
What's
right?
crazy, on Saturday, me and Brandon's son Justin went to, because Brandon had to work, so I took Justin with me to watch the fights.
To watch Logan.
Yeah, we had a great time.
And Brandon's doing well.
Oh, he's amazing.
Oh, he's doing awesome. He's doing awesome.
Well, we gave him the treatment here.
Right.
He was in a lull.
Yeah.
And it was basically for him.
Yeah, he was struggling. I still remember him at Matt and Mary's wedding, right? I mean, he was so green. He was so angry. Good God, he was angry.
But he's got through. I mean, he's got it.
But see, and that's why we do this, right? That right there is I love watching that stuff. To watch another man, Mike's another one.
But the family. Because I'm at a 2-hour talk with Justin on the way back, and just to talk with and how the families.
Oh yeah.
It's just God is so flipping good.
Right.
I mean, when we're not, but he is. When you let him do it.
Right.
You know what is, and you probably saw this in the last couple of weeks with both of the girls recording as well, is you hear these stories of kids who are super angry because their parents are or were alcoholics, but there's some where they do have the ability to forgive their parents for those. And, and both of our girls, they really have. I mean, McKenna very much embraced it at Larry's sobriety and was a cheerleader for him. Huge cheerleader for him. But again, she was still living at home. And Miranda had a family of her own, but she was still very supportive and cheering from the sidelines. So your kids are deep down happy for you because they want you to get better. They really do. Or even if you have that broken, fractured relationship, hopefully that will mend.
They do in time.
I know that Miranda being on the episode was huge for her and I's relationship. Yeah.
And I think eventually those two are going to take over the top spot. I really do.
I'm going to tell you right now, I can tell you those 2 episodes are not too far behind Brad and Grace.
I got a lot of response on those.
Right.
And one of the ladies on Thursday, she loved the doctor, or the soon-to-be doctor.
So here we go, right? That's number 28.
Which I love.
Dr. Rachel Berry, right?
And I told that.
Well, hold on.
I told her she's going to be back on.
Number 28 was just Rachel Berry, right? Yeah. She was not a doctor
Almost.
yet. So I reached out to her a month ago, and I said, and she answered the call right away, and I go, doctor yet? She goes, not yet. She had 6 more weeks. I said, when you get that doctor, we want you back on. And she says, absolutely. I'm going to come back on in person, right? In person. So I'm so excited for her.
Loved that episode.
A lot, right? And in fact, we were just talking about it. The lady that's coming on in September, the lady, she brought it up again. She was like,
he's the one that brought it up Thursday.
Yeah,
she loved that episode.
Yeah, she said one of my favorite episodes was the doctor that you had on, because she had such a different outlook and a different perspective. And it was the first, person that had more brains than anybody that we'd had on this podcast that had
Except for you, of course.
Well,
You guys were, you're a close second, Larry.
I was above and beyond, above and beyond. It took a lot to get up to me. So it took doctor to do that, which was, and hers was so much fun because we did get, what was so fun about that. And that's why I got this big monitor behind me now, is because we did hers on Zoom and Rob couldn't see her face. So Rob kept trying to talk as she was talking.
Well, I'd ask a question and then, or I'd say something. I didn't know there was a delay.
There was
I'd start bopping. He's like, "Shut up, shut the fuck up."
There was a delay, and I could see Rachel here, but Rob couldn't see her. That's why I ended up putting this on for up here before those Zoom calls. And it was just funny.
Could have just made him sit in this chair.
Right. I didn't think that. It was.
Why would they want to move?
Right. It was just too funny. Anyways, that was number 28.
Get a whole new TV.
Number 29.
$1,000, Katie.
It's just $1,000.
We're going video first.
No, but I know that.
She's all no.
I'm telling you. I said, can this studio make a little bit of money before we put out more money?
But when we do, it's going to be for like a A13C or
I've talked about that a little bit, and I've actually cut it out. My ultimate goal is to get to where this is. I've said this from the very beginning. I'm not, donations, or I'm not taking, no, I'm sorry. I will take donations. I'm not going to take sponsorship, right? I'm not going to be sponsored. I'm not going to have somebody else tell us what we can or cannot say. I won't do it. I won't do it at all. If I want to talk about something, we're going to talk about it.
But
right?
A silent sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody, and that's what I'm talking about, going into the 503C and going through and opening up.
It's like what just happened with the young man that we got, what Larry helped with Sean Oren, getting the young man into Maynard's.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
who didn't have insurance.
Right.
And he was like ready. Well, we thought he was. And it turned out to be.
Right. He's doing good.
No, doing great. I was last Sunday.
So I'm going to open up a nonprofit. We're going to turn this into a nonprofit. And I'm kind of excited for that. There's a lot of work to do, but I'm working on it in the background. So it takes
next?
some time. Way to shut me off, Rob.
Exactly.
A quick question though. Is there, I don't know. I mean, I know Maynard's because I've been to Maynard's for you, but is there a way that, if someone felt that they wanted to do something that they could sponsor someone themselves?
Absolutely.
Like they could send money to Maynard's?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. They do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shauna that would be amazing.
Shauna,
I mean,
she's going to come on.
God bless her, because Larry makes a phone call, and if she doesn't answer it, she calls him very quickly. And Larry's worked with her and Rob, and
amazing.
Through Larry to her, and whatever way it happens, but she makes it happen for someone.
She's awesome. She cares about the person more than she does the money by a long shot.
But it is a business, and we got to
absolutely. It's a business,
right? Yeah,
right. Yeah. So the next two, 29 and 30, was West Side John is dude. I love me some West Side John. He's one of the biggest fans I got, and I love that man to death. He rides with me to the Monday mornings or the Monday evening meetings.
Well, do we have John on, then John and Heather?
Yeah, so no. So we had West Side John on. So John came back, right? So we had John on and then Heather at the right behind her.
Okay.
And if you haven't listened to Heather's, number 8's a bitch. That woman she battled some serious stuff, and that was a great episode.
I love that one.
Yeah, she what was so fun about that one is I started seeing her in meetings. She started going back to meetings after that one because I encouraged her. She has such a good story. I really do want her to be more involved. And then John came back in after that because he felt like he had some stuff left over. So let's see, that was 29, 30. He came in 36, I think, is when he came back. And then 38 and 39 was Nathan, right? Nathan, God, what a joy that has been to watch.
Oh, since then.
Oh my gosh. Just when he was here on 38 and then how he just propelled after that. Back in with his wife, they're getting married from what I'm understanding.
Oh yeah.
And just watching all that
saw him this week, and they came to the fights, and Nathan, we got to he helped because I was sitting there watching Logan too much, and Nathan did some videos for me.
Right.
And sent them to me. Yeah.
Just watching that
and
has
Bonnie's
been.
known Nathan since he would come to our house with TJ and Jason and watch fight nights when he was a little kid. 16, 17 years old. He remembers the Jack.
I think he was older than that, though.
He was 17. We started working with TJ. 17 or 18.
He was that young?
Yeah, baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been watching him come out is just him. Him and I had a little bit of a disagreement in the very beginning. When we first started, just a little bit of clash, and then. It's kind of weird. He disappeared for a little while. And then, when he came in here and he started telling his story and I was able to watch him, I have so much respect for that man to watch him struggle and go through that emotional
and sober, and just sober, just emotionally.
Yeah. Just struggling through that and just working through that. And just, he had been sober for 7 years before he six, right. Before he started down this path. And now, seeing him, he's cut his hair. He's just, look at him. He's just working out all the time. He's just so, it's fun to watch. He's just a different bird, man. Let's see. Then that was Nathan and then Mike. And so then 41 and 42 was Mikey Stillman and Jason A together, right? That was the first time that they had sat across from each other in 18 years.
And talked about. That's the first time they had talked about the wreck together in the same room at the same time. And it was incredible to watch. And Mikey Stillman is just, and he's not afraid to say his last name. Watching him where he's at right now, once again, he's another one of those guys that we've had the privilege of watching him come out. Oh my gosh, and see him. And to hear him say, I love you, and to give you a hug, and to watch that bright light. You know what? And I listen to him do the AA logos and the stuff that he says in AA. It's just so fun to listen to because he gets it, right? He gets it. And then 45 was Mike and his wife, Kim, when they came in together to talk about the recovery afterwards, right? The family afterwards, and to watch that and to hear Kim talk about her struggles with her attempt at committing suicide, and which Mike didn't even realize that was coming to, right? I told Katie this before we started recording 52 that, we get to talk and we forget these mics are there, right? And so many of these episodes that we go through that we just, the people that we're interviewing they just get so comfortable behind the mics. And I think it's a lot to do with me though. I think I make them.
You're an idiot.
Oh, maybe Rob, a little bit.
No, it ain't me.
They're kind of impressed that somebody so small can move like he can. That's what I think they're impressed with. And they just come out.
I feel like you're jealous of his muscles.
I really am. Bonnie, I really am.
You always bring up, you're jealous he's the hot one.
Those guns.
I am very jealous. That comes from true wife right there.
You got the hot wife, I got the hot husband.
Stop. Anyway, so that was 45. And then 49 was Christy and Blake, which Blake was my sponsee, my very first. Well, no, he was my number 4, but he's the only one I didn't kill.
Right. Or chase out of your house.
Chase out of my house. Oh, my God. Blake's awesome.
Again, Larry is 0 to 100.
Yeah.
If you're not also 0 to 100,
get the fuck out.
He doesn't want to mess with you.
Get the fuck out.
No, and there's certain people and God brings me certain men that they're broken enough, they're ready.
Right.
They're ready to go the way,
I move at the speed. I move at the speed of pain.
And we should.
Yes.
Because that window of willingness closes.
Okay, but let's give Blake a shout out because he put up with Larry.
Oh, no, hey. That man, but you can tell, Katie, the level of desire for sobriety someone wants when they're ready to do that. Blake wants it. He wants it like fucking
He was so desperate that he used Larry.
Yeah. All right, I'll take you.
We beat the shit into him.
You know what? There had to be a right fit somewhere in there, and God bless him for it.
It was awesome. The best thing about that one is he wanted to do the plain language, which I still have right here.
Fuck that book.
And you know what? Listen, you fucker. You prejudiced son of a bitch. You stop it. That book has brought a lot of people to sobriety, and we've talked about this.
Fuck that book.
You fucker.
But that's about like talking about the King James Bible verses.
Right.
The NIV.
The NIV or the NAS or something like that.
The NIV 84 is not bad. The new NIV sucks, but the NIV 84 is not bad.
And I've said this from the very beginning. And
No,
I
but
told
you're right.
Whatever gets you through it.
You're right, Katie. So
But
I
hey,
love the way if it helps people, God bless them.
step 4,
It's
when
not
we
for
were
you.
going through 4 and 5, he started bringing his other big book. I can promise you that, because he realized that the hammer, right, that the big book, the original big book has, is not the same as that. They soften it up way too much.
That's the only problem I have with it.
Right. It's
Because
too soft.
you don't need to soften it up for the alcoholic. He
No.
needs to be kicked in the fucking ass.
Right.
I mean, pat him on the back when he needs it, lift him up when he needs it, but more times than not, they
Mhm.
need to own their shit.
Right.
And that one doesn't.
No, it just doesn't.
have the
It
same
sugarcoats it. It sugarcoats it
Just
way
like
too
Two
much.
Wives.
Right.
Stupid chapter. Fuck.
Now, Ryan, hey, I thought Ryan got you past that.
No. There's some nuggets in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a prick chapter because the dude wrote it and he should let his wife write it, in my opinion. But there's some nuggets, and Ryan brought out another perspective.
Right,
And
right.
there's a gal at the Thursday night meeting named Stephanie. She brings her daughter. She also brought it because she was a woman who had that husband,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's in the rooms and she's been that wife.
Oh, wow.
So she gave me a different perspective. So there are some nuggets, but fuck it. I mean, it still just sucks.
Right. Anyways.
But it's not as bad as I thought it was.
So 50, 51, and 52, baby. McKenna, Miranda, and then Katie and Bonnie. Yeah, those are the last 3. So that's our year, you know, those, and I'm so glad that blessed, right, that we got to finally have Katie and Bonnie in here, because, you know, the wives behind us are amazing, right?
Mhm.
And I said it from the very beginning. You two ladies allowing us to do this and take time away from you.
Thank you, babe, for allowing me.
It's no problem. I aim to please.
Yeah. Generous mother.
I just, but it's given of your time,
See,
no
it's
matter
still
what.
that admonition that you are allowing
It's
him.
Yeah.
giving.
So are you going to allow him
See,
to
I
do
did that.
something else?
If you ask nicely.
When
In a very vanilla way.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I'll blow you a kiss. I'll wave to you out the door.
Bye, bitch. It's just, you know, you giving of your time the same way we give up our time, and you have to give that time to allow us to go do this, and you know, and it's the rewards have been amazing, you know, and
my wife, above all, I mean, above anybody else that I've seen yet, has really given me because she knows, and there's times she's like, "Can I have a day?"
Yeah,
because God will never give you more. Yes, He fucking will.
Yep, He
Yes,
will.
He will. It's up to us to say yes or no. It's up to us, you know, and I do, and I have a hard time saying no because when I reached out for help, no one told me no.
Right.
And I have no problem with him working with people. I actually love it. I want everyone to have
Yep.
what I have. The only thing that pisses me off is when they don't take it serious. They stop showing up. Okay,
right.
you just took 2 hours. We had plans,
Right.
but he was going to go help you because you needed that help. You didn't show up. So I just lost out
Right.
on.
Yeah.
So as long as they take it seriously and make an effort, I don't mind.
Goes back to your rules.
Yeah.
That's what Rule 4 is. She was
Right.
talking about one specific person.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And on last Monday, I brought that up. So we talked, and
Yeah.
I brought that up to that person because normally,
But you
once
also
you do that,
celebrate his sponsee's successes as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, you don't know what he and Rob are talking about or any of those things, but you celebrate those sponsees.
Oh,
Or, you know, Larry will mention somebody else in the group, or, you know, this person's really struggling, or like he was talking
well, she knows the code words. You know, is the light on? Not yet, babe. We're working on
Right.
working on the
Yeah.
4th step, and then I let them know, and then once they become part of the life, you know, if they're going to become part of the family. Like we drove by the construction company right here. My first sponsee is Max.
I love Maxie. He's the cutest little kid. He was so cute.
But they become part. So when you know,
he come and he carved pumpkins with us.
Yeah.
He made
14 years ago.
Right.
Just
Christmas
becomes part of your
stockings.
family.
Yeah, it just.
But you can't. Well, number one, that's anonymity. Number
Right.
2,
Yeah.
my rule number 2, what you say to me and what I say to you stays between you, me, and God. It ain't my wife's fucking business. That's how I tell them, Katie.
Right.
And it ain't your wife's fucking business. That's
Right.
ours. So it
Yeah.
doesn't go home.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm going to tell them things that's between us.
Right.
And I don't want and it's not that I don't want, but it's an also level of trust.
Trust.
Yeah.
For
that they
sure.
have to give.
That level of
Usually I
trust.
get to order the coins.
Yeah. I get.
That's
He
pretty
tells
cool.
me like
I need
what
a
they're
six-
into or
I need
what.
a
Okay, and I'll
3-year
find
coin.
the
I
perfect
need a
coin.
6-year coin
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff.
Is it okay that I bring up the 13th though?
Yeah.
Bonnie?
What?
His
My
13th
sash and my
birthday.
tiara that you had the wrong year on just recently.
You know what sucks is I had it in my phone right. I had it on the calendar right, but for some reason, when I ordered stuff, and not only that, me and Emily were so excited. Me and Emily are the ones that did it. We were so excited. Emily came home so we could start decorating the house. And I'm like, dude, it's next month. It's not even this month. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, no, I wasn't, but I was informed that it's next month. So then the next month comes, I go to put it up, and he's like, you didn't even get the year right. And I'm like, does it really matter? And he's like, actually, yes.
You know, and
Yes,
then
it does.
She
Very,
had
very
the fucking
much.
tiara on my head. I had the sash that said 13. I said, what's this? She goes, you're not gonna let me take a picture? I said, if it said the right year, fuck yeah, you can take a picture. I look good. But
you know,
I've been in this thing lately. I like to buy
You know
in
how
stupid
big you're going to have
shirts.
to go next year?
Oh, yeah. Just wait.
then I
Just
bought,
wait. I'll
next
have
year-
you over.
next year is 15, by the way. 15.
then this prick asked me.
See,
There-
It
there
says
it goes.
quince year.
Oh, you're getting a ball gown. You're getting a big old ball
if
gown.
it says the right shit, I'll wear it.
It's going to be so sparkly.
It's a big ceremony, too.
Have you
Oh.
seen those
Just
cute weekend
wait.
dresses?
Yes, we just went to one.
They're so fancy. They are so
You're going to
fancy.
look lovely.
Hey,
But then he has to have his friends dance with him. For
I'll dance with you, Rob.
I know.
I bought this prick a nice freaking coin for his birthday, and he sits there and goes, "I want you to give it to me at the birthday night at primary." Right? So which was the 21st. I have us all set up where I'm going to go. So I actually give him the coin on the podcast because I wanted to give it to him because I think it was your actual day of your birthday.
June
Yeah,
1st.
that was,
We were
it was a
recording.
great episode.
It
You had
was.
people call in.
Yeah,
It was a
Wish him
great.
happy
Oh, that's right.
birthday.
I
That
was
was
trying. I
Awesome.
didn't write
It
that
was
in
Rob's birthday.
that was super fun.
there. Yeah, that was a Rob birthday one.
June
God dang
1st.
it. Yeah, it was June 1st. So
Yeah, it was
June
just
1st,
recently.
2011,
Yeah.
which means I have 14 years.
That-
Another birth. See what I get from home?
hey, and then I'm
Now
getting
he
ready to go.
cares.
Wait, June 1st is your non-belly birthday?
Yeah,
December 13th is my belly birthday.
Can I
June 1st.
point?
June 1st is your
Sobriety.
because
sobriety.
Bonnie's coming back in.
Yeah, can I point something out?
Knock it out, kid.
Sorry, I don't have, an alcoholic birthday, but I do have a belly button birthday that has been forgotten 2 years.
October 20th. What are you talking about?
But the day came and gone, and I didn't hear nothing from you and the kids. And I tried to keep it really quiet. I was like hiding the phone calls from my mom and my aunt just because I wanted
That's
to throw it in
freaking
their
funny.
faces.
But I rarely forget.
when the day went by.
You've forgotten twice.
Yes, I have.
It was
So that ain't rarely
not
because they
just
only come
him.
around once a year.
the whole family,
Oh my God.
all of them. And then and then Logan comes in that night and he's all, Mom, happy birthday. And I was like, thanks. I was like, you remembered? He's like, well, I know you and Emma have the same birthday. And they just posted happy birthday pictures for Emma on Instagram or whatever.
But
So-
my mother-in-law texts me something. I was like, oh, shit. And I go, okay, hold on. But in my fucking defense,
Why you got to go there?
because
Why you go
listen,
there? You own your shit.
you know,
Own your shit.
I forgot, but I'm gonna ask my wife.
There
a
we
question.
go. But
from the first umpteenth years of our marriage, who was the one that remembered dates? And
Oh, I never remember dates. He always remembers the dates. I
so
never remember.
I forgot 2 out of 25.
I
or
get
out-
my kids'
out of
birthdays
50.
right because
That's
you always
funny.
have to give it at the doctor.
yeah.
But-
yeah.
So I always had their birthdays down, but everyone
But
else.
just like a woman, she's gonna remind me of the 2 that I forgot, but
Yeah.
not the 23 that I fucking remembered.
Hey,
Step forward.
let me finish mine,
Oh,
fucker.
Go ahead.
You asked me to fucking give you your coin at
Oh.
birthday night at primary.
I didn't
I'm
show
getting
up.
ready to fucking go. And I texted him. He's like, no, I'm not going. I'm like,
I'm going to jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu, motherfucker, I'm dressed, get ready to go to primary to give you your fucking coin, you prick.
I'd have showed up at the jiu-jitsu place and been like, stop, stop, I have something to do.
If I hadn't already given him his actual
Take off
coin,
your
I would have.
shoes. No shoes on the mat.
There you
Larry.
go.
Yeah.
No shoes
Yeah.
on the mat. So, anyways, yeah, there's this has been fun, and I'm excited to do it again. Rob has signed on
Yeah,
for
for
another
another year.
1-year contract. So
I allow it.
If
you allowed
Bonnie
it. Thank you,
allows
Bonnie. I love you, ladies. I
I'll-
love you, Rob.
I
Love you too,
may
buddy.
allow you to buy something else for FFF Studios, maybe.
I may allow Rob to throw in on it. I, like
I
this
am
allow
hoping.
thing.
I'm
I never
actually.
got to allow before. I love it.
I'm actually.
Don't get used to
I do want to go to video, right? The video may be most of the time just Rob and myself, right? Because a lot of times most of the guests so far are perfectly fine with being on the video.
I'd refuse it.
No, you wouldn't
Yes,
have.
I would.
No,
Yes, I would.
but there is a lot of
Well, we have pretty people on. We got to have that.
we
thing on
have,
there.
especially me, right? I mean, I'm the prettiest one here.
No doubt about it.
So,
And
but
the
you know what's
smartest.
I'm gonna have to comb my hair and stuff if we do go video. But the biggest thing is that you ain't got none. I think the biggest thing for me why I want to go video is because you see the sincerity of people's face and their body language.
good
I just think it's just
I'll wear a muscle shirt all
people
the
are
time.
missing sincerity in that you fucking guy, man. You're an idiot. You're an
I'll leave a
idiot.
dumbbell right over here.
You know
so I
what,
can
you
get a
guys-
good pump.
You really have
Can
done
you hand
some
me
good
that?
work, though. Honestly.
Thank you for joining. What was that, Katie? Throw that back. I'm not cutting
She said,
that off.
Rob, you really do some good work sometimes, despite Larry's fuck ups. And I said, Katie, thank you very much. That's very thoughtful. Appreciate
Larry,
you.
can you tell where Larry's ADD, ADHD kicks in? Because I can.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I'm like, Larry, there was more to that, and you just like shut it down.
Yeah.
I think he sees.
When he's
you know
done,
what?
he's done.
We should. Yeah, seriously, there should be a sticky note on top of the minutes, the time there, because I know that you can see that, and you're like, oh, we gotta shut this down.
This is normally on right here. I don't know why I didn't want to connect today, but that's normally on where
And
everybody
I
can
do the
see
same thing. Sometimes my wife's favorite
it.
sentence.
Right.
Oh, I guess I was done talking.
Oh,
You know,
Katie
'cause
does it to me all the
Yes.
time. Katie does it to me all the time.
And I'm working on it.
I'll
I
wait
guess-
for you to finish. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
You know what? I
we
think
could've-
with their thoughts, those ADD, ADHD thoughts,
Yeah.
they're like got to get it out
Yeah.
because they're going to forget about it because
It's going away.
You've moved
Did the
on
end
to the
of my
next one.
sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?
Yeah.
You know what? I do it. It's
God.
out of respect to you, Katie. You're not the only one I do it to.
Oh, I
promise
know.
you.
Yeah, but she's the last
No.
one. You should do it too.
No,
I know.
I'm.
I hear it on here.
You know,
I'm like, Larry.
my boss is as bad as I am, and if people and we
don't know if
get
that's
each
bad or
other,
good.
but we get each other, right? So when he interrupts me and I interrupt him, it's fine. We just shift gears and go on to what he's talking about because we match each other's craziness on our ADHD. And if you were an outsider to listen to him and I talk, you would be fucking lost.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Does he jump from one subject to the other and then go back to the first
Yep.
one and can't figure out why you don't know what he's talking about?
Yep. Just like
love
I do.
that. I absolutely love that. Or he'll come in there and tell me something. Huh? What are you talking? Oh, I must have been talking to someone else about that.
Yeah, did I talk to you about this? I do. I don't have it. I had a thyroid issue, or have a thyroid issue, I should say. So that affects me on my train of thought too.
Really?
Oh yeah. And some days it's bad. Even grasping a word, I'm like,
I love watching
What's
Katie
my
get
problem?
locked. I love getting Katie.
I don't know what your problem is.
I love watching Katie get locked up because I'm like, you did it.
it's bad. Some
Bonnie doesn't
days.
get locked up. She just runs into shit. That's been in our house forever.
You would think we have a huge house, right? No, walk into the hallway, I run into the same wall. It catches me in the corner in the hip every time.
And we all get to see it.
Katie's got a picture that hangs in the kitchen. I knock that thing off all the time. I cut the corner too fast.
And if Bonnie's going to throw something at you, don't duck or move because she's a poor shot. If you duck or move, she'll hit you. Stand still. That fucker's going right by you.
I think it's funny. She's throwing
Should
shit
we
at
test that?
Let me step away a little bit.
No, there was one time I did not miss, and then you get to go hide real quick.
Yeah.
And he just gives you that.
Were you stunned that you actually hit him?
Yeah.
But she aims at the face, though, all the time.
Oh, there it goes again.
It needs
All
to
right,
hurt.
all right,
Love
all
you guys.
all
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Oh, there he's gone.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for
to
joining
end
us
my
today.
sentence
We hope
after
you learned
beginning
something
yours.
Did I? If you did not, come back next week and we'll try again.
Dude.
If you like what you heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that, too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in. Take
This has
care.
been Recovery Unfiltered.